Hello guys, this is Erick Vasquez again with you. I am a Chevening scholar from the Dominican Republic, and I was Chevening scholar from 2018 to 2019. Studied in the University of Reading, a master's in information management for design, construction, and operation. A really long name for my master's degree, we all know. But anyway, we're coming back to you in this COVID times. Of course, as everyone knows, very unprecedented. Yet I think it's going to deliver a lot of lessons for all of us. However, despite the situation, we decided to collaborate together because we have been getting a lot of good feedback from our previous videos and comments. People really like the interview content that we created, but then they started to request some advice about the essays. And well, Ezequiel and I said, why not collaborate virtually if we're not even in the same place, especially with COVID? So let's just create something for the people out there. So yeah, this is my friend Ezequiel. I think you might remember him, but tell us a bit about you.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm back again, and as Eric says, COVID stuff, right? I am Angolan, as you might know. Chevening scholar as well from 2018, 2019 from the University of Reading, which I did a master degree in entrepreneurship and leadership. As Eric mentioned a bit, right, the goal of this video here is to really provide insights on how to write essay or what we have done in our own essay, again, really to help you. And lastly, we will have another video that we'll be shooting later on to tell about the experience that we have had while Cheveners in the UK, right, Eric? And a little bit of those 2 years that we have interviewed people, right? What we have learned about those interviews to kind of, give you perspective on how you can probably differentiate from others, and I hope you guys would like it. So, Eric, what do we have today?
Well, let's get straight into business. Let's speak about essays. I think that of course, all of you guys know that we have 4 essays in the Chevening application. But even before jumping into those 4 essays, we would like to give you some generic tips that apply for each of those essays. And the first one that I personally would like to mention is that you need to have a lean thinking on how optimal you want to use your space. 500 words per essay is actually not that much. That's what I felt. So feel free to challenge every sentence that you're going to add to your essays. Right, Ezequiel? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think you are very right, Eric. And I'll just mention something here as well that I think it's very important is answer the question that you are asked. Be sure that you are answering the question that Chevening asked. And a trick that I use in my essays that I copy and pasted the question, the title, right, to my Word doc. So I would always refer back to the question and know that it's like, okay, I'm still aligned to what they are asking. I think is very good. And another
thing, as simple as reading that every time makes a difference. Huh?
Makes a difference, exactly. And another point that I would add, we applied in 2017, like 3 years already, right? And things have improved, and more competitive. People that are applying now, are better and better. Sometimes I read some people's essay and be like, damn, wow, what is this? So like, it's just amazing. So I would say that, you have to be unique. You have to be, you have to find what is unique in you that you differentiate from others. And for that, you have to be creative, to make that difference. And lastly, is ask someone to give you a critical review of your feedback, of your essay, just to look if everything makes sense. you know, on what they say. It might make sense for you, but if someone else reads, will be like, what is this? I don't understand. You know, yeah, and it's good just to have that other person's view of your essay. I think
Totally.
it's very good. But remember, content is important and logic in there, right?
Yeah. I personally did it. I think it's crucial. I mean, it really depends on you. If you have that person in your network that you can expose your essays to and give a critical review of what you're saying, I think that's very important.
Yeah.
But let's get straight into the first essay of our group, which is the leadership essay. Look, both leadership and networking are based on soft skills and so on. That's something you need to take into consideration. But speaking about leadership first, it's very important, guys, that the reader understands what is leadership for you. And you can do that explicitly or implicitly. Like if you want to dedicate 1 or 2 lines to say, for me, leadership is X, Y, and Z, that's good. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to give an implicit idea of what is leadership throughout your essay, that's valid. The important thing is that the person reading your essay has to understand what is it for you, your personalized understanding of leadership. And what best way to express those things that through your examples. It's obvious, as the title says, that you have to provide a couple of examples. I don't know, could be 2, could be 3, but real life examples on how you have been a leader. What can you tell us a bit about it, about that, Ezequiel? You know, the examples and the importance of that.
Yeah, Eric. I think it's what you have just said now. You know about the implicit or explicit definition and the example. And I think it's important when you are giving your example, you align the example with the definition that you're giving. You know, it's very
Yeah.
important. And like, I'll just give an example of what I have done. I have defined explicitly in my essay that one part of leadership for me is being highly self-motivated. You know, that's what I've said. And actually, as an example to motivate myself, because for me, like being highly motivated, you can then influence
And
other people.
influence people around.
Exactly. So how do I keep highly self-motivated? How do I motivate myself? So what I do basically every morning, Eric, is I try to do morning affirmation and have a visual board on what I want to achieve and keep reminding myself every day to motivate, to inspire me. And I think that helps me transmute or translate these to other people. And I think it's very important. You should have that in line, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Your definition, your
The
example.
definition and your example that relate. And the other thing that I also think is important in this essay, Eric, is on how Chevening will help you improve your leadership skills, capabilities. You
How
know,
will it make you a better leader?
going to events, meeting people, maybe what you'll be studying, you know, like how is that going to help you develop yourself, your leadership skills? Because
Yeah,
Chevening is
yeah.
all about building leaders, right? So how is going to do that?
How will Chevening make a better leader out of you?
Yeah, simple as that. Yes, simple as
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah.
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 So, Eric, do you want to go to the other essay and see how can people look at the networking one?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think, as we were saying earlier, both of them are really based on this soft skills philosophy. And what I find very interesting is that both the leadership and the networking essays share a very similar structure, like framework wise. You know what I mean? Not similar content, of course, but similar framework, which means that, again, you have to give either explicitly or implicitly what is your understanding of networking. For me, networking is blah, blah, blah. Or throughout your examples, you're again going to give 2 or 3 examples of how you have leveraged your network, how you have delivered impact in your environments throughout your network, and that by reading those examples, people understand what is networking for you. And then later on, yeah, you demonstrate that you have this alignment between your definition and your examples. So in that regard, they're very similar. So
Yeah.
if you nail the things that make a good leadership example, then probably you will be able to write a good networking example also. But we often get this is a frequently asked question for us, if they're so similar in terms of structure, what differentiates them apart from the content itself? What could you tell us about it, Ezequiel?
I would say, Eric, there are 2 points that you can add in that, just a moment, internet problems.
That's what I call technical problems.
Technical problems, yeah. Sorry.
Things still happen at home. Huh?
I know, right? So the 2 points that I would add here, Eric, that differentiates from the leadership network or essay is that you should tell the reader on how you will improve the Chevening community. Who are you? What do you bring as an asset that can benefit the Chevening network? And another part of it is on how you will benefit from the network, what you create in the network that.
So, okay, we're back again with you guys. We certainly had some issues, but as we were speaking, what is different, Ezequiel, between this leadership and networking essay?
Yeah, Eric, as I was saying, right? I think what differentiates here in this essay is on how you will improve the Chevening network. What do you bring that will benefit the network? And what do you actually want to take from the network? Because that's what network is kind of about, right? The mutual benefit, a win-win situation for everyone. So I think it's important to include that.
Reflecting on the networking, content that we exposed in the previous video, what you give and what you get.
What you get.
That's and everyone winning in that context.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would say that's what differentiates, Eric. But what example do you actually have, Eric? Do you have any example?
I would like to mention briefly how I spoke of the impact that I wanted to deliver through the Chevening network to the Latin American region. So I realized that I could leverage the knowledge, the leadership, and the network with my Chevening scholars in Latin America in the future, and probably we could collaborate in developing some projects that impact positively in the economy and the quality of life and the living standards of the Latin American region. I could really combine this group of people along with me, and we could do something interesting out there in the society because we met through Chevening. That was the idea.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah, in that line, I think you can kind of finish your networking essay with that last explanation on how you could give or get from the Chevening network. And then we can move forward into the studying the UK essay, which, I don't know, to my personal thinking, is the least complicated one to structure. But even if we think it's the simplest one, what do you think is a correct framework to build it, Ezequiel?
Eric, I think I would have like 3 simple things that I think are important to include in this essay, which is somehow obvious, but people might miss it. Is first on how does your background, what you're currently doing, working, what you have studied previously, actually aligns to what you want to study. I think is very important. Don't underestimate the importance of that. Secondly, what are you actually going to study in the UK? Like, what is not, I'm going to study a master's degree in entrepreneurship and leadership. Yeah, okay, I know that. But what courses are you going to do that? Going to do there? What are you going to learn? What do you want to learn there? Why you want to learn that? I think it's important to consider that in your essay. And lastly, is on how does it aligns to your career plan. You know, you're not just going there to study and then go back and that's it. You have a vision, you have a mission, and you're going there to help. It's like a path to help you accomplish your mission. So it
Yeah.
needs to align, right, Eric?
Yeah. Certainly, it's like, it's an additional step in the stairs to get to your career plans. That's how you have to do the closure of your study in the UK essay. However, I would like to go back to that second step you mentioned, which is, what do you want to study in the UK? It sounds pretty obvious, pretty simple. Yet I think that is the section of those three that requires more work. Why? Because you have to demonstrate that you did your homework. You have to be explicit about those things that you like in your university. Or look, let's just take a simple example there. Don't go and say my university is ranked number one and that's it. That's not enough, guys. You have to go and see in your modules, for example, a module that caught your attention, a professor in that master's that wrote a book that is very influential in your field. If you're going to study, I don't know, urban development, that university that you chose has the Department of Urban Development of the UK, or they do some specific research, but demonstrate that you took your time to deep dive into those programs or those cities or those universities. That's
Something
how you
particular, right, Eric? I think something particular to your course that really interests you.
Yeah. And some people make, like I did, I didn't go into very specific into each program and say everything about each program, but I actually realized what these three programs, because they were too similar, they had in common and how each of those differentiated. So I touched on those differentiating things among them. But some other people, everyone has different strategies, but the purpose is to demonstrate that you did your research about them.
Yeah, sure.
Well, something that you could also add to your study in the UK essay, not everyone has space to do that. Some people do, some people don't, is why the UK? That thing that you're going to study, maybe you're going to study entrepreneurship as you did, Ezequiel. You could have studied that in any other country.
That's for instance.
But something in the UK got your attention. What was it? If you have, I don't know, 10% of the space of your essay and you can tell that, could be a nice added value, I guess.
Yeah, true. I agree, Eric. I think now going to the career plan, which is, I think, kind of closes your application and gives the reader the perception of what kind of person you intend to be, right? And there are three parts that I like to structure this essay, which I have done in mind. And actually, if you go back to the question, that's what they ask, right? Answer the question again. Read the question and answer the question. You should have a short-term plan. What do you want to do immediately when you go back to your country? And should be highly detailed, like what you want to do in the first 2-3 months, exactly what impacts you want to make. It doesn't have to be too ambitious, because you still have your long-term plan, and then you probably cannot really achieve much. You have your midterm goals, right? That should be like for 2 to 5 years, should be like, the level of detail shouldn't be that much. The ambition should be like moderated. Yeah, more ambitious, but shouldn't be very ambitious as well. And then you have your long-term goals, that is your maybe 5-10 years goals, that can have a reasonable amount of details there, right? Shouldn't be very detailed, because you can't probably be very detailed what you can do from 10 years.
You can, but in the long-term one, you have to aim high.
Exactly.
You have to catch the attention of the reader.
Exactly. Like, what is that you want to be? Like, you want to be an Elon Musk or Obama. Like, it's really up to you, right?
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be something achievable, right?
That makes sense.
That makes sense. I think one good thing that you can use probably here is using the SMART framework. You can Google it,
Yeah.
what is SMART framework, and how to plan things, right, Eric?
You can make you can test that framework against your plans. And look, something I have realized when I was writing my essays, and what we have been advising to people in the last years, is when you describe, when you're explicit about your plans, you basically want to answer three basic questions, and that helps you towards the SMART framework.
Yeah.
First of all, where do you want to be when you arrive back to your country? And by where, I mean, what type of organizations, what type of projects, what type, where, that scenario, that environment that will host you to start developing your career plan. But then in that environment, who are you? What role are you going to play? Are you going to be a manager, a supervisor, the owner of a company? I don't know. Look, but you have to explain in one way or another what is that role specifically. And third thing, and most important, is how you're going to get there. Either through your network, or because you had a company in your family, or I don't know, because it's in your university, but you have a path to get to that environment. So I think that if you answer those questions in one way or another, your plans in general are aligned to a SMART framework,
Yeah.
and they make your story reasonable and logical.
Yeah.
It's great if you can explain how you can leverage the Chevening network to get to those stages, but it really depends. Don't make it look forced. Something that must look natural.
Yeah. I think one other thing that I would add here, Eric, it's kind of like can be the umbrella for your goals on how even the essays and even what you want to do in the UK. It's what problem do you want to solve in your country? I think that kind of really captures everything.
Of course.
Right. And Eric, can you share a bit on what you have done in your essay in this part?
Yeah, for sure. In my scenario, I'm a construction guy. I previously spoke about it in the previous video. And my vision was on how to make construction more efficient by using information technologies. Why was that important in the context of my country? Because construction holds 10% of the GDP of my country. And by making it more efficient, it means that we are more optimal in the usage of public resources in my country. And that excess money that we save, then we can invest in other development projects in the country or in the region. So in a very short line, my reader of my essays understood that my objective was to enhance my economy by making construction more efficient using information technologies.
Exactly. And I think that's the idea, Eric. Now, I'll just add one more thing again, is that how does your plan, your career plan, or what problem that you are solving actually aligns to what the UK is doing? If you can find that link, is great. If you can't, don't force it, or you can actually influence UK in solving your plan. You can write that in your essay. That will show leadership.
Yeah, but then how did you tackle that? Because I think in Angola you had some context about what the UK was doing.
Actually.
Because how did you make the connection?
Yeah, we spoke about that before. So I realized at some point. I mean, I said before that I wanted to study business in the UK, entrepreneurship, right? And I have one particular module that would teach. It's something that I really want to do, and I'm also excited about. It's on helping improve Angolan business environment, which is very important for every country because it helps attract foreign investment that can help grow the economy, create more jobs, which we need, right? It's actually a critical problem for Angola at the moment. So, and I chose entrepreneurship. And I realized later on that actually UK was helping Angola in trying to improve our business environment. So there was a link there. So, going to the UK, studying entrepreneurship. I did a research on my courses. I find out that I have a particular module that will teach me on how to improve business environment, what frameworks to use, and how other countries have achieved that, you know. And me coming back in partnership with UK Embassy to help achieve this goal, you know. I mean, that kind of creates a link, a connection, and that's somehow the problem that I want. Part is not everything. I still have other stuff, but that's somehow like part of what I wanted to solve in Angola, and it relates to
and there's also this other context that you used. I remember you mentioned that about something around that before, on how the UK is a great country to do businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
You could also leverage that
Exactly,
in the initiatives that the UK had with Angola,
exactly,
and the knowledge that you could get from there, and so on. So, you know, it's how you encompass your story within the UK plan.
And so
If you can do it, it's really interesting.
just one thing there, actually, Eric, is UK is one of the best places to do business in the world. So how did UK achieve that? You know, I wanted to learn. Where's the best place to learn that? The UK, right? Yeah, in the UK, right? So, and I think that kind of creates the link in everything and distinguish you from other candidates because it's unique. You know, no one can really copy into that.
Yeah. Well, indeed, I guess that brings us to the closure of this video. However, you know, we just wanted to say before we close this video, guys, as Ezequiel said in the very beginning, remember that this structure that we're giving you, this framework, there are a bunch of people looking at these videos, as they did with the interview, which means that people will have a similar framework. We think that framework makes your essays powerful, but you have to give your personal touch. When you give good examples, when you give consistent plans, that is your differentiating factor. Make an effort to beat the competition because the competition is high. The program is very competitive. But I think that's all I have to add from my side, Ezequiel, and I think we can jump to the next videos. Could you remind us again what were the next videos about?
Yeah, exactly, guys. So thank you again. This is the end for this first video. In the following weeks, we will have one other video that will share our experience about these 2 years that we have interviewed people, what we have learned, how we have actually met amazing people. You know, everyone applying for Chevening, they are spectacular people, and also a bit of our own experience in the UK, right, Eric? Maybe places we went, met, is how it has transformed our life. That I think can help people to understand what they will be doing in the UK, what opportunities you can create for yourself, right?
Yeah. And lastly, what makes a good candidate? We'll probably speak a bit about what makes a good candidate, something that could probably be interesting for your
exactly.
And how you project yourself correctly.
So I think it's really from the experience that we have had with people, right? What we actually found that makes good candidate among those. I think that an interesting insight that would give to people. But again, differentiate yourself, you know, because a lot of people are watching this video, so they already know. So you kind of always have to think, okay, this is the level, how can I be there, you know? Exactly.
Totally. Anyway, thank you very much, guys, for being with us. See you soon. Take care in these COVID times, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.
See you in the next one, guys.